In this exercise, we'll determine if two algebraic expressions are equivalent. The expressions are 3x plus 5x squared and 8x squared. And what we're going to do is complete a table by evaluating each expression for x equals -1, x equals 10, and x equals 0. And then we'll use that table to determine if the expressions are equivalent, and we'll answer yes if they are and no if they're not. So let's just draw up a little table. The first expression that we were given was 3x plus 5x squared. And the second one was 8x squared. And we're interested in evaluating these when x is -1, when x is 10, and finally when x is 0. So let's just start at the top with x equals -1 and evaluate the first expression. We'd have 3 times -1 plus 5 times -1 squared, which is -3 plus -1 squared is 1, and 5 times 1 is 5. So the expression is going to be equal to 2 when x is -1. 8x squared when x is -1 is 8 times -1 squared, which is 8 times 1, or 8. So we'll write 8 here. Now we could actually stop evaluating here because we found that for this value of x, -1, the two expressions have different values. So that tells us right away that they're not equivalent. But just to get some practice with evaluating expressions and to see what else happens, let's just go ahead and complete the table. So let's go to x equals 10 and evaluate the first expression. We'd have 3 times 10 plus 5 times 10 squared. Now 3 times 10 is 30. 10 squared is 100, and 5 times 100 is 500. So this is equal to 530. And that goes right here in the table. And what about 8x squared when x is 10? We'd have 8 times 10 squared. 10 squared is 100, and 8 times 100 is 800. So we'll write 800 here. And finally, when x is 0, the first expression is 3 times 0 plus 5 times 0 squared. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 squared is 0, and 5 times 0 is 0. So the value of this expression is 0 when x is 0. And finally, 8x squared, when x is 0, I'd have 8 times 0 squared, or 8 times 0, which is also 0. So we see that for the value x equals 0, the two expressions do have the same value, but for these other two values we tested, they do not. So that tells us that the expressions are not equivalent, and we'll just answer the question then, no, they are not equivalent.